Good afternoon. I am not in the best mindset right now, but I am in a better mindset than I was 20 minutes ago when I found out that I had a huge setback. So let me give you some context. I worked this morning on tweaking some of the algorithms for my software site for creators and trying to get the ranking of channels right and appropriate for me and my channel. And then I started working on, I was like, all right, this is good enough. I'm going to do the next biggest thing, which is I need to apply for increasing my quota from the YouTube API. And so I learned my lesson this time from last time I did this with my previous site, commentcompass.co. And I read the YouTube API terms of service and privacy policy and developer terms of service and policies and whatever. I read all of them. And I'm glad I did, because I realized that there were some maybe 2 or 3 specific clauses that I think it's maybe 2 clauses that I like definitely violate, and then one that's like kind of in the gray area for me. And this is not, unfortunately, this is not like last time where basically all I had to do was, well, I'll give you the context. So I made a site that it scrapes, searches, filters through YouTube comments looking for questions and requests that you can make videos based on. And I built the site, and then I applied for the quota, and the YouTube API team tried out my site, reviewed it, and then determined that I violated a whole bunch of their terms of service policies. And I was like, oh shit, whoops. But when I read through like what I actually violated, it was like, your site must have its own terms of service policy, and it must link to the YouTube API terms of service policy, and your site must have a privacy policy. And when a user uses your site, they must, give express consent to your terms of service and privacy policy. And so anyway, long story short, all I really had to do was just create a terms of service and privacy policy, throw it on my page, put a little blurb that says, clicking this button means that you consent to my terms of service and privacy policy. And that was basically it. Well, this time, the actual functionality of my site violates some of their terms of service. And it comes down to, my understanding is that there's a clause that says you can't create custom scores for videos or channels that are not basically period. And my interpretation of this is that they want transparency, and so they don't want these convoluted, non-transparent scores that are based on like a whole bunch of things that are not transparent to the user. And so they make it very clear that all you can really do in terms of metrics and displaying data and metrics is display the exact metrics that come from the API, which is like, the video views and the comment count and the like count and whatever else, or very simple, straightforward mathematical calculations like average or, maximum or minimum or whatever. And as I was reading this, I was like, One of the fundamental algorithms to my site is based on a composite relevance score function that I created, which is like, I don't know how else I could spin this besides it is literally a custom score based on a channel, which is exactly the verbiage that says in the terms of service that says you can't do this. So yeah. So I've just been ideating on my walk here, letting off some steam, and trying to figure out how I can see. My worry is that I've created something that's so like deeply detailed and custom that it's useful. And my worry is that in becoming compliant with the terms of service, basically I can't do any custom scoring. All I can do is show all I can do is show metrics. And so what becomes a very personalized, deeply detailed custom score based on your channel my worry is that it turns into, oh, this channel also has 5,000 subscribers, or like, oh, and you can search between 5,000 and 100,000 subscriber channels. And it's like, that's just not useful. It's like, how is that useful for me in finding other channels that are similar in style and content to my channel? So I think that's where a lot of my frustration right now comes from, is that I want deeply personalized and detailed and useful data, and I'm not allowed to do that. And so I think I've come up with, there's still a lot of things that I need to think through in terms of trying to transfer as many of my own custom scoring metrics to metrics that are transparent and from the API basically. But I think I've come up with a change that actually might be a better feature than what I currently have, which I am hopeful about. But yeah, if I'm not able to get the results that I currently have with my current algorithm, it's going to be very frustrating. So we're gonna have to figure out something. But the beauty of this is that there is no option. I have to figure it out. And so that constraint means I'm gonna figure it out because there's no other option. So anyway, I'll end with this. I think part of this is, what's the right word? Warranted? Start walking back. Like it's or expected. Like it's not a surprise that I find out that I violated the terms of service by reading the terms of service. And so you might question why I waited so long to actually read the terms of service. And I also question that. Um, but I actually think it worked in my favor. And let me explain. I think I'm glad I didn't read the terms of service until now because of these restrictions. Because I think the result was I built this from first principles, basically. Maybe not first principles, but I built it with no limitations in mind. And so I built what I wanted and what works, what's useful. And I think if I had read the terms of service first and saw these clauses about, oh, you can't create your own custom scores, I probably wouldn't have created these custom scoring algorithms. And I think by constraining myself so early on, I don't think I would have gotten the results that I wanted. And so I think I would have ended up with a worse product in the end than if I had built what I wanted and what works. And now I can take what works and what's useful and make it fit and mold into what is compliant with the API. And I think I'd rather be in that position than the other. But I mean, I don't know. You're never gonna know the alternative. So anyway, I think I'm pleased with the product that I've created right now in its relevance and usefulness. And I think it is now deterministic, finite problem to solve to fit what I have into the API, terms of service. So anyway, what that means is that I thought I was going to get a quota increase application out today, and it's probably going to be at least another week, which kind of sucks because I have to basically restructure a lot of maybe not restructure is the right word, but redo a lot of the algorithms that I've created. So anyway, I think it's not unusual to face setbacks in life. Can't believe I have to put that as a disclaimer, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. See you tomorrow.